feast of St. Joseph, patron of many things, but most notably families, workers, and the church, all of which are under attack today. Politicians attack the family legally by attempting to redefine it out of existence. They attack it materially by undermining the ability of workers to support their families, and they attack it metaphysically by persecuting the church, which gives the family its ultimate meaning as a symbol of Christ's love. These simultaneous crises are no mere coincidence. In a world governed by Providence, I guess there really are no coincidences, and in politics there really are never any coincidences. These crises are the consequence of a concerted effort by our liberal opponents, who rightly understand that the family is the chief obstacle to their political goals. That is because the family is the fundamental unit of politics. The liberals, liberal at best, I should say, many of them are outright Marxists. What they wish to destroy is the family, and it is because they cannot control it. Because the family is not a creation of the state. It is a natural institution that exists everywhere and for all time for the generation and education of children, as well as for the mutual support of the spouses. Liberals don't like that fact, and I'm very sorry for them. But I did not invent it. I did not set the rules, and there's nothing I can do about it. That just is what it is. They can whine, they can try to change it, and that will cause all sorts of political problems. But ultimately, it will not work, because no matter how much power the liberals amass, they can't change reality. Still, they give it their best shot. They attack the generation of children by promoting abortion and the ever-expanding alphabet movement. They attack the mutual support of the spouses by denigrating fathers and depriving them of their legitimate legal rights. It was once said that there would never be a war between the sexes because everybody was sleeping with the enemy. Amazingly, today, according to certain social scientific surveys, it seems the liberals have even been somewhat successful at discouraging that. Very impressive. But the liberals' most effective work, their most effective attack on the family, has targeted that second purpose, the education of children. Parents might not want pornography in their kids' elementary schools. They might not want drag queens reading to their children in the libraries. They may not want teachers calling their son Sally in the 5th grade. But that's just too bad, according to the libs, who insist that parents have no right to object. Still, as Pope John Paul II explained in his letter to families, quote, "Parents are the first and most important educators of their own children, and they possess a fundamental competence in this area. They are educators because they are parents." Education is not just reading, writing, and arithmetic. I'm not even sure public education still includes reading, writing, and arithmetic. I think it's mostly lesbian dance theory and the like now. I don't know. I haven't looked at the syllabus in a while. Regardless, education is more comprehensive than any of those subjects. Education means raising a child. It comes from the Latin verb ducere, to lead people out of ignorance, out of the slavery of their base passions, and into the freedom that comes by conforming our will to reason, and which reaches its fullest perfection by cooperating with God's grace. This is why we educate children, or at least we used to educate children, in the liberal arts. Education is supposed to train us to be free. It begins in the nursery, at the dinner table, in the living room. Children are constantly absorbing the ideas and the behaviors of those around them. That is why the liberals insist on removing children from their families at younger and younger ages. My father started school at age 6. I started school at age 5. Today, I'm not joking, I have friends whose children start school at age 2. What do they teach children at age 2? What do you study? These days, you probably study the same thing that you study at Harvard, but in any case, it's very bad. It can't possibly be good. Whatever the curriculum, the first goal of the liberals is to get the children away from their families. As long as children are raised by their families, the liberals can't control what they're taught. So they have to make both parents go out to work so the kid goes to daycare. Then they have to take over the daycare. They have to take over all the schools, really. So the educators have to toe the liberal line. Then, if those stubborn parents still insist on raising their own kids, then the liberals just remove the children by force. I'm not speaking hypothetically or hyperbolically. Yesterday, the Supreme Court declined to hear the appeal of an Indiana couple whose child was taken from them because they refused to believe that a man can become a woman. Indiana's Department of Child Services took Jeremy and Mary Cox's son from them at the tender age of 16 because they refused to lie to their child. They refused to subject him to harmful medical experiments. They told him the truth, and the truth sets us free, and the liberals can't have that. That court decision marks a radical shift in the court's jurisprudence, which a century ago declared that, quote, the fundamental liberty upon which all governments in this union repose excludes any general power of the state to standardize its children by forcing them to accept instruction from public teachers only. The child, the court goes on, is not the mere creature of the state. Those who nurture him and direct his destiny have the right, coupled with the high duty, to educate him. The family, in other words, comes before the state. The rights of the family precede any right of the state. Most Republicans understand this fact, or at the very least, they pay lip service to it. Where the Republicans have gone wrong, however, is on the other side of the question, on the role of the state. Because the state is natural, too. The state is important. Man is not an island entire of himself, but rather, man is the political animal. Too many Republicans in recent years have fallen into the trap of withdrawing from politics, of concluding that the government's frequent ineptitude means that we ought to focus solely on the culture or the private sector.
Who's sitting over there?
I understand the impulse, but the practical consequences have been disastrous. It has amounted to a surrender of virtually all political power to our opponents. President Trump, our once and we hope future president, certainly do. President Trump has never fallen into this error. President Trump, refreshingly, has not been afraid to wield political power for its proper purpose. The squishes recoiled when President Trump said that he was running for president to restore things like good neighborhoods, to weaken the powers that weaken our country, and to make America great again. They claimed that President Trump was usurping power and undermining our system of government. Of course, it was the exact opposite. President Trump understood, and continues to understand, that we can never strengthen families by withdrawing from politics to the culture or the private sector. Obviously, the man has been pretty successful in both of those realms of society. You can look around you. But he has rightly observed that we need to win politically, too, because families require the support of the state. The family, in all its splendor and with all its rights, is an imperfect society. It does not possess the complete means for its own development, temporal or spiritual. That is because man is born into three societies: the family, the civil order, and the church. The family and the state serve man's natural ends. The church man's supernatural ends. The three are distinct, but they are not opposed, as the libs would have us believe.